Today we are going to discuss about the format of notice writing, and this is the ICSE pattern of how you should be writing a notice, and all the students from class 6 to 10 can follow the same pattern. Now let's get into the format. The format is total of 5 marks. It carries 5 marks, and now I am going to subdivide the 5 marks for you. The first thing that should be in your notice writing is the heading, which is for 1 mark. The second thing should be the subject, which is for 1 mark. The third thing is the date, which is for half marks. Then the time, again for half marks. Then the venue, which is half plus half, that means 1 mark. I will further in the video describe what these half plus half marks mean, okay? And the last thing that should be seen in your notice writing are the other details, which is for 1 mark. Now, I have displayed 2 questions over here, okay? And I would read both of them one by one. The first is, your school is organizing an inter-house singing competition. Write a notice for your school notice board inviting names of all the interested students from grade 6 to 10. And the second question is, your school is going to publish the annual school magazine next month. Write a notice for the notice board of your school inviting students to submit write-ups. Now one by one I will show you the formats and example of both of these questions. So let's move into the first question. Now we are talking about the singing competition here, and the first thing that should come in your notice is the heading, okay? So the heading has to be catchy. It has to be purely in English. You can't be using any Hindi word and converting it into English. It has to be a proper English word. So the heading that I have taken here is symphony, okay? The second thing that should be in your format in the notice writing is the subject. And for the subject, it's already given in the question, inter-house singing competition. So here is the subject. Now remember an important thing, that after the subject comes the date, okay? So here is the date, and remember that you will never put a comma in the date, okay? So it has to be in a flow. There has to be no comma at all. And remember to mention the name of the month, and the first alphabet has to be capital, okay? So this is how your date should look like. The next is the time. Now look at the time. If it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it has to be 12 noon, okay? 12 noon to 4 p.m. Now do you see that I have put a dot after P and a dot after M? Please don't forget to put these dots. These are must, okay? So PM stands for post meridian, okay? So 4 P dot M dot. And if it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, you will not write 12 PM, you will write 12 noon. The next thing that comes is the venue. And like I said in the format in the previous slide, before the question slide, the venue is half plus half marks. Now what is that half plus half marks? I will show you here. Can you see something written and then a comma and then another name written? This is half plus half. So before the comma, half marks venue. After the comma, half marks venue. Basically your venue should be such that first you are going to write a smaller venue, then put a comma, then after the comma put a larger venue, okay? So I have written Auditorium 1, which is a smaller venue, comma, Shishya Public School. So Shishya Public School is a bigger place, and Auditorium 1 is a small place inside the school itself. So first should be the smaller venue, then put a comma, and then should be the larger venue. And the last thing that is the other details. This is how you write details. You just have to mention which classes have to participate, to whom you are going to submit your names, and what is the last date for the submission of the names. This is a pattern of other details for questions which have competition based questions, okay? If it's some kind of a competition, this is how you should be writing. You should mention the class or the age group. You should mention to whom the names are to be given. You should also mention the date, the last date of the submission of names. So here I've written all interested pupils of grade 6th to 10th should register their names with the head of the Department of Music, Mr. A. Singh, latest by 21st May 2020. Have I put a comma in the date again? No, I haven't. So remember not to put a comma in the date. Let's move on to the second question, which was about the write-ups for the school magazine. Now in this second question, the heading is the creative writers. Okay. Then I have taken the subject write-ups for school magazine, because this was not in one flow, it was not given in the question. So I made up this subject and I wrote write-ups for school magazine. Then comes the date. I have used no comma. There is no comma in the date, and I've made sure that M of May is capital. Then 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I hope you can see that a.m. and p.m. have the dots. See, in ICSE, if you don't put the dots, you lose marks. Basically, it is just for half marks and you lose the entire half marks for not putting a dot. So please always remember to put the dots. Next, the venue, like I already said, from a smaller venue to a larger venue. So staff room, comma, Shishya Public School. Remember to put a comma between the smaller and the larger venue. And the last is the other details. All the pupils interested in writing for the school magazine must submit their write-ups to their respective English teachers on the above mentioned date, time and place. So what I have done is that in my other details, I have not given an age limit or a class limit. Okay, I have made it open to any pupil who's interested in writing for the magazine. So they have to submit their names to their respective English teachers. Okay, so this is how a notice writing looks like. Now in the further slide, in the next slide, I have put some questions for you. I would like you to try those questions for you to understand them better. I hope you will try them, and your work will be definitely checked when you come back to school. So students, here are the 3 questions that I would like you all to do in your notebooks. Please do it very neatly. Remember to make a proper frame in order to maintain the neatness and in order to keep your notice writing in the center of the page. Okay, so it is recommended for you to make a box, a frame, so that your notice remains in the center of the page. Okay, so I hope that you will try these questions. You will do them definitely in your notebook, and I hope that you have understood the lesson perfectly.